Hey guys, it's Tech here. In today's video, we'll be reviewing the Gigabyte X870E AORUS Pro ICE motherboard. That is right. If you guys do not know, I just picked up this motherboard here today from Newegg for $330. And I thought I'd give you guys an honest review about this motherboard because I plan to use this in a $1,200 PC build that I'll be building on the wall over here. So if you don't want to miss out on that video, definitely get subscribed. But I plan to use this as a board for test benching new GPUs and just for a gaming PC in general because I want to maximize my utilization with it. And the problem with I was noticing with the other ICE motherboards from actually Gigabyte is that they're very weird. So there's a B850 board of the ICE one, which most people buy, that has three 16x slots. The problem with these 16x slots is the top one's a 5.0 by slot, and the other two on the bottom only support by one, which is kind of an issue for me because I use a lot of 10 gigabit network cards and also capture cards, and most of my capture cards I use support by 4. I can't do any of that with those actual boards, but this one is special. Even though it's $100 more, it has a lot more future proofing that I think actually makes it much more valuable in the long run. So there's a lot of things you can actually do with this board, so I thought we'd do a whole unboxing and review of this. So let's jump right into it. So let's get into the unboxing. Now, when we open this on up, of course, you're going to get access to the motherboard in itself and some cardboard that protects the actual I/O cover. Then we can just carefully pull this on out. She is heavy. This board is really heavy. I was expecting the board to be a little bit lighter, but this is actually like a really nice and sturdy board. I'm gonna set that to the side for the time being. And we open up the box in the bottom here, we'll get access to a few different things. First of all, you got your little Wi-Fi antenna, because this has the easy push for your actual Wi-Fi, so you just clip it on. You got one SATA cable. You got some additional cables. I'm not entirely sure what this is for. It could be for a actual thermal thing for temps. And you got some additional things. I'm gonna be honest with you, half of this stuff in here, I'm not sure what it's primarily for. It looks like some of this for the VRMs. Then of course you got your manuals and some stickers. You actually got another adhesive pad for actually M.2 slots, so that's nice. Now we can take a closer look at this motherboard. This thing looks really nice. Like, I thought it was gonna look clean, but that is really nice, especially with the AORUS. I just want to quickly say this thing is built beefy. The build quality is heavy, but very sturdy. Like, I thought the board was gonna be a little bit more lighter, but it's way heavier than I thought it would be. Now for the I/O, you have the following. You have two USB 2.0 ports, one HDMI out the motherboard in itself, a Q flash button, three USB 3.2 ports, a USB 4 Type-C port, and we have another one too. And then we have a BIOS USB 3.2 port, which is really fast, so you can put your like BIOS thing in there. And then additional two USB 3 ports that are really fast, especially the 2.5 gig on board. And then of course that Wi-Fi, that's an easy click. Then you have a PFD out for your actual audio, and then you have a mic in for your actual mic, and you have a lane out for any device you want to go to, your speakers or something. So the I/O on this is pretty beefy. Now for plugging your Wi-Fi antenna, all you have to do is take the actual easy click design and you just push it in. And then with that, it just goes in real easy, and then you just pinch and pull it out. Like, this is really nice. I like this. Now let's take a closer look at this motherboard. First of all, you have access to your 4 DIMM slots here. This does support up to 264 gigabytes of DDR5 memory. And you can open it on both sides too, because some motherboards I've noticed have one slot on the bottom here just locked in place where you can't unclip it, like on the top here for your 2 and 4 slots and 1 and 3. So that's good to see that it's not the case here, because I feel like for those motherboards that do have it, it causes problems long term with actually damaging the RAM. So I'm glad that's not the case with this board. And if you want to get access to this M.2 slot, there's actually a cute little release here. And what you're going to do is flip this release by pushing it upward. And then you just lift up the actual M.2 thing. And you can see there's a little adhesive thing you will have to remove before you actually install your M.2, which we're not going to remove that right now. But of course, get access to that. And then that's the quick release there. And there's another one right here. So let's say, for example, you do want to install a drive. All you do is line it up at small tooth with the big tooth and at a 45-degree angle, wiggle it on in. And then you can just push it on down, and you see this little black release thing here. You just push it on up, locks in place, and you got your drive installed. And if you want to install the next part here, you just make sure to remove this blue peel, and then you want to line it up. Same way you have it, there's a little clip on the bottom you can see here that lines up with this actual clip here. You slip it on in. Once you slip it on in, you just line it up with the slot and then push down with it. And with that, your M.2 is installed. So that part of the motherboard is really nice for installing your SSD. I'm going to take this SSD out though for the time being, because I need to actually keep this available whenever I actually plan to use it. That is nice. I love this quick release. Now there's also another quick release here for your M.2 slot, because the M.2 is the first one right there, and there's another 3 down here. So we lift this on up, and then it should just open up with it. Get access to the other M.2 slots. There's 3 of them. So an important thing to keep in mind, if you do plan to use all your PCIe slots and you don't want any bifurcation happening, cutting down the bandwidth on these slots, make sure to use the top M.2 slot because it supports Gen 5 speeds. And just slap a big drive up there. And then you can also use the third M.2 slot for the M.2 SB. Because if you use these 2 slots, it will not affect the bifurcation for the top slot. But if you do plan to use the M.2 slot for M.2C CPU or even the M.2B CPU, M.2 slots, it will affect the bifurcation for the top slot. So instead of this being a Gen 5 16 by slot, it'll run to a Gen 5 by 8 slot instead. But that's the only thing you need to know about the bifurcation for this board. There is some other stuff with the CPU too, where if you don't run a 9000 series CPU or 7000 series CPU, it can affect the rest of the stuff. So if you run like an 8000 series AM5 CPU, I don't recommend it with this board because you will lose some bandwidth by doing so. Going back to the PCIe slots, talking about that now, we first of all have the armored slot here, which also has a quick release. So you push down on this, it will of course let the GPU unlock. Since there's no GPU in here, it's already unlocked. Now if you did put a GPU in that top slot and you put it in the board, this thing would lock in place. So you would then have to get the GPU out by pushing this actual quick release for the actual PCIe slot. Since there's no GPU in right now, it's not going to go down. It's already unlocked. So the next thing we have access to is the other 2 PCIe slots. These do run by 16, but the top one runs 16 by 4 at Gen 4 speeds. And the bottom one here supports 16 by 4 at Gen 3 speed. So this is perfect for anyone who has any capture cards or 10 gigabit network cards that they want to use that. Now let's take a closer look at the motherboard. First of all, we have an ARGB connection. We also have a few more ARGB connections right here. A normal RGB connection. Then we have a few connections for ESTPI and an STPI. And then on top of that, we have a little DP sense. I'm not entirely sure what that's exactly going to do. We have a few USB connections though. Then we have a USB 3.2 connection, so you can plug into your case to get that fast actual bandwidth, your USB 3 ports. System fan 1, system fan 2, system fan 3. You have your front panel connectors where you can see like your LED light, power switch, reset, hard drive, and all that information. Now under here, you do get access to the chipset, but we're not gonna mess with that for the time being. Now you have your actual USB 3 connection here to plug into your case. You have a few SATA connections to actually get bandwidth to your drives at 6 gigabits, which is nice. Another HDMI out. I'm not entirely sure what that's exactly for, but you have access to it. You have your PAMP 5. You have your Type-C connection for 20 gigabits, which is nice. Then you have a fan pump for 6, your 24 pin for your actual power, and then you have a debug LED, which is super nice to see on a high-end motherboard because a few motherboards I bought recently, like the ProArt, didn't have a debug LED. It had the normal LEDs, but having debug LED is big for someone who uses test benching or just trying to figure out a problem with their motherboard. Then we have another ARGB connection right here. And then we have a reset button here and also power switch button on the board in itself, which is really nice. Then you have your system fan 4, you have your CPU fan, and CPU opt. And then you have 2 8 pins for your actual CPU. So you can have one just to power the CPU itself, and if you want to do any overclocking, you can use the other one. You get a beefy VRM around this whole board, which is nice. I'm not too knowledgeable about VRMs. I'm more specialized in the hardware for the PCIe stuff, so I'm more interested in this than actually that, since I don't do any overclocking. But overall, this board looks super freaking nice. I love the look of it. This is probably the best white motherboard on the market with all the actual bandwidth that you need if you need it. So let's go over my final thoughts now on the Gigabyte X870E AORUS Pro Ice motherboard. Let's go over the things I think that are awesome about it and things I wish this motherboard had that could have made it even better, because I'm kind of disappointed in a few things. First of all, it doesn't have 5 gigabit Ethernet on board. I feel like if you're paying $300 for a high-end motherboard, you should be getting more than 2.5 gigs on board. Don't get me wrong, 2.5 gigabytes is more than enough for most people, but if you are buying a high-end motherboard with a good amount of bandwidth, I would expect this board to actually have it, because I know MSI has some of their motherboards they have recently that are even B580 that have 5 gigabit on board that are really nice. The reason why I think this board is better than the MSI board is just because if you do plan to use more PCIe slots and you need to buy 4 slots, this one has 2 additional ports compared to MSI. It's just unfortunate it doesn't have 5 gig on board, because that would make it even better. There's some things I still don't particularly get about this motherboard that I feel like could have been better. Like, most of the M.2s goes to the CPU and they don't go to the chipset in itself, because I feel like the bifurcation for most motherboards, if they were going to be perfect, would just Most things go to the CPU for their Gen 5 stuff. The rest of the stuff, to make sure they get the most value out of their lanes, should go to the chipset. So this motherboard has some of that here, but not all the way. Then again, you do have two really nice M.2 slots you can use. So all you theoretically have to do is have your boot drive be 2 terabytes, which I feel like is the minimum nowadays, instead of 1 terabyte, which is kind of crazy to think about. And the second thing is using that third M.2 slot as a way to store all your games. So maybe using a 4 terabyte drive, or maybe if you're a professional, an 8 terabyte drive, because if you're spending $300 on a motherboard and you're going to plan to use it for maybe some high-end stuff or make money with it, I feel like an 8 terabyte drive would just make sense with it, and that way you would have like 10 terabytes of fast storage. Just unfortunate you can't use the other M.2 slots without affecting the GPU. But since it's Gen 5, theoretically it should be the same speed as Gen 4 by 16 for by 8, which is interesting. So that's the nice thing about the ProArt motherboard, that you can actually do that. And it's the same thing with this board too, but I'd rather not have to affect any of the PCIe slots unless I really have to. Now, going on to my next thing, I love how this motherboard looks. This thing is so clean. This is probably the cleanest motherboards I've actually ever messed with. I was expecting to buy the original B580 board, but I decided to go this one just because the bifurcation on it is just much better. Because it just doesn't make sense to buy a $200 motherboard if you don't plan to use the rest of the actual PCIe slots. Like, yeah, you get some more things that are much more cheaper, but I just feel like it was a waste to go with that board just because the two 16 by slots on the bottom were only supported by 1 compared to this one that's supported by 4. And I noticed that the B580 board from MSI, the one that has like almost perfect bifurcation besides like the M.2 slot, this one was the same price as that. Keep in mind, B580, same price as a X870E motherboard. So I feel like this was definitely worth a pickup because later on I could just slap in a 10 gigabit network card for the by 4 slot, or maybe I just use the 2.5 on board because maybe that's more than enough for I need to, or anyone else out there. Then I can use the rest of the actual PCIe slots for like capture cards, or maybe some M.2 expansion cards. So my last thoughts is this motherboard's really good if you are looking for someone who's looking for a good amount of bifurcation without compromising too much. But I still feel like if it had 5 gigabytes, it would have been perfect. It's just so unfortunate you don't have 5 gigabyte LAN on board. That's my last thoughts about the Gigabyte X870E AORUS Ice. If you guys enjoyed my review video here today, make sure to smash the like button and get subscribed to the future tech content. I'll see you guys from now on. Tech Grant out.